The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity has been my favorite show so far this anime season. I'm a sucker for romance shows, and the Rintaro-Kaoruko pairing is lining up for a top-tier finish in my all-time rankings. In the show, Rintaro's family runs a bakery. It's here that he first meets Kaoruko, where she promptly bolts out of the store. When she comes back in to apologize and start their romance in earnest, she indulges in a slice of Strawberry Shortcake. Or rather, Rintaro gives her his slice of Strawberry Shortcake. It's a great scene and gave me the itch to try baking a strawberry shortcake myself. I've baked plenty in my spare time, but never really cakes, so I thought it would be a fun and delicious challenge. Then, recently, I crossed 2,000 subscribers, and thought that it would be the perfect time to try my hand at the cake, to show my appreciation for all of your support. With the stars aligned, it was time to turn my kitchen into a cheap binging with Babish imitation. Hey, it's weird being a dismembered head gesturing vaguely, but I'll get used to it. For today, I'm working off of a recipe by Maggie Zhu on the Omnivore's cookbook. I'll link it in the description. The first thing we're going to focus on is the cake. Japanese shortcake is built out of a light sponge, which will start by melting some butter into whole milk. Once that's done, I'll sift in the cake flour. Cake flour has lower protein content than all-purpose, meaning that the resulting cake should be more tender. Foreshadowing. After mixing in the flour, I will very awkwardly separate 4 eggs. Separating eggs is already something I do very poorly, but having to do it in front of a camera was surprisingly difficult. And as a man living in perpetual fear of salmonella, I cleaned up that loose egg white immediately. Anyway, the yolks get mixed into the flour and butter mixture right away. Next up is beating the egg whites. After measuring out granulated sugar to beat with the whites, we will move to my crappy iPhone setup for the mixer shot. Sorry, I don't have a way to plug the stand mixer into the island, so this will have to do. I hope you appreciate my matcha green mixer though, it's my favorite kitchen appliance. Anyway, after the eggs start foaming, I stream in the sugar slowly and beat the whole mixture to soft peaks. Here's me pointing at the soft peaks. Next, we take a little bit of the egg white mixture and mix it thoroughly into the yolk and flour mixture. Once that's smooth, the yolk mixture goes into the whites, where it must be gently mixed in, as to not release all of the air in the egg whites. I tried to show off the mixture, but it didn't really work. Once that's mixed together, we take an 8-inch lined cake pan and pour the mixture in. Then we tap it on the table a few times to release any big air bubbles. For the baking, I will be using a hot water bath. Luckily, I have a big oven-safe saucepan that can easily fit the cake pan. I had some boiling water on the stove earlier, but it needed to come back up to a boil for a minute. Now watch me very poorly pour an inch of boiling water into the pan, dripping water everywhere. The funnel play was smart though, in my opinion. I could so easily see myself pouring boiling water onto the cake by accident. That cake goes into a 325-degree Fahrenheit oven for, in theory, an hour and a half, but I pulled it after an hour 15. You can also see that I really needed a haircut when I shot this video. Once a toothpick comes out clean, the cake comes out of the oven. And the recipe how it's written implies that it should be removed from the pan almost immediately. So I ran a knife around the edge of the pan and flipped it out. And here we can see the big issue. The cake just didn't rise nearly enough. The finicky part about sponge cakes like this is that they rely entirely on those beaten egg whites for a rise. This cake should be at least an inch taller. It could have been that I didn't beat enough air into the whites in the first place, that I beat too much air out of the mix when I mixed in the yolks and flour, or any other part of the processes later. Regardless, it's a bummer. But we'll just have to live with a short and dense strawberry cake. There's worse things in life. As the cake cools, we will take all but our most beautiful strawberries and slice them up to be put into the middle of the cake. Once they're cut, we'll put them in a bowl with some sugar. This will macerate the strawberries, drawing out some moisture and softening them while adding to the sweetness. After another time skip, the cake is finally cool. The last big component is the whipped cream. We will be making a whipped cream stabilized with gelatin. So we'll start by blooming some gelatin in cool water for a few minutes. As that goes, I'm pouring some heavy whipping cream into my mixing bowl and sifting in some powdered sugar. After mixing that to soft peaks, I'll grab a spoonful and mix it into the gelatin mixture. That slurry then goes into the rest of the cream, and it's all mixed to firmer peaks. Now that everything is ready, it's time for assembly. I don't have a spinning cake stand, so I will be putting my regular cake stand on a Lazy Susan. Nifty. First up, we'll carefully cut our now pitifully thin sponge in half. I'll eat the crumbs, don't worry. I've never iced a cake with any amount of seriousness, so please don't judge me too hard. After a thin layer of cream, I'll arrange the macerated strawberries in a relatively even layer. More cream on top, this time to get it a bit thicker. Then the top layer goes on, and I spend a good 5 minutes trying to make the sides not look awful. I do not succeed. I fill the last little bit of whipped cream into a piping bag for accent work, but I do not have enough left over. To add to everything falling apart, the strawberries for the top are just too big to fit on the 8 that I wanted. It's right here that I come to peace with the fact that I'm going to be trying to make a slice that best captures the show, not an entire cake. So I make a couple of carefully curated slices, disregarding the crimes against cake slicing I'm committing in the process. I pick my favorite of the two and start going for thumbnail images. Honestly, other than the dark line of cake from the brown top on mine, it's pretty close. But how does it taste? Awful. I mean, it's cake at the end of the day, but that sunken sponge is like rubber. It's like a dish sponge, not a sponge cake. My strawberries were also not quite ripe enough, and there was a sugar syrup to brush over the cake that I completely forgot about. But honestly, is any cake bad enough not to finish the slice, especially after you spent all day making it? Hell no. On a more serious note, thanks to everyone who helped me get to 2,000 subs. I know in the grand scheme of YouTube, that's not that much, but every step forward is precious to me. I'm so excited to see where all of these shows take us next, and to see what sort of content I make going forward too. And if you happen to be new here, how's it going? I'd really appreciate your company too, if you want to subscribe. Anyway, I ate 2 more slices after that one on camera and now feel ill, so I'm going to call it here. I'm SlamAnime, and have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.